Ladies and gentlemen, there's a storm out there, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's in the headlines, it's on your phone, it's in your relationships, your business, your health, and sometimes it's right between your ears. The question is not, is the storm coming? The question is, are you built for the storm? I'm not here to tell you the storm is going to stop. I'm here to show you how to stand in it, smile, and say, let's dance. You see, people think they need to control the outside world to feel strong, but that's backwards. Power doesn't come from what happens to you. Power comes from what you do in response. Let me tell you right now, certainty is not a feeling, it's a decision. You don't need to wait for the storm to pass. You need to become the kind of person the storm can't shake. Because in chaos, most people react, but leaders respond with intention. 1. Certainty is a muscle. Rain it daily. Think about this. How do you build a muscle? Reps, tension, resistance. What if fear, doubt, anxiety, and confusion were your weight set? Every time you feel overwhelmed and choose to breathe deeply, shift your focus and take one bold step forward. Guess what? Your training, that's how you become unshakable. Not by avoiding pressure, but by leaning into it and using it. And I want you to hear this, your nervous system is not broken. It's just untrained. And once you train it, once you start conditioning yourself to feel strong when it's hard, you become unstoppable. 2. Emotions are your GPS. Master the controls. You know what makes people spin out in chaos. It's not the facts. It's how they feel about the facts. Emotions run the show. The quality of your life is the quality of your emotions. So the question is, who's driving your emotional car? Is it fear, anger, guilt, or is it purpose? Power, gratitude, focus. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. Emotional mastery is how you set those sails. You need to decide in this moment, I'm not waiting to feel better. I'm going to take control of my state. And the tools, they're simple. Change your physiology, change your focus, change your language. If you change the way you move, breathe, speak, and think, you change your world. 3. Chaos reveals who you really are. Pressure doesn't make diamonds, it reveals them. The chaos you're facing right now, it's not the enemy, it's the opportunity. When COVID hit, when the market crashed, when the world stopped, you know what happened. Some people broke, others broke through. So which one are you? Look, I've coached millions of people. I've seen people lose everything and rebuild from zero to empires. And I've seen others who have everything, but they crumble when a text doesn't go their way. The difference is not what's happening around them, it's what's happening inside them. Chaos is a test, and if you're breathing right now, it means you're still in the fight. So show up. 4. Your standards will save you. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your standards. In times of chaos, most people drop their standards. They say, I'll do my morning routine when things calm down. I'll eat better when I'm less stressed. I'll lead when I feel stronger. No, that's when you go all in. If you have a high standard for how you show up, even when it's ugly, even when it's inconvenient, you become that rare person the world turns to when it falls apart. So raise your standards, not someday. And not when things feel better. Raise them now, because if your values and rituals are built on convenience, they will collapse in chaos. 5. Lead even when you're bleeding. Let me tell you something from my heart. The world needs leaders. Not perfect people, not invincible heroes, but real leaders. People who show up even when they're hurting. You can still lead your family, even if you're scared. You can still lead your team, even if you're tired. You can still lead your life, even if you've been knocked down. Leadership is not about having no wounds. It's about choosing to stand up with your wounds and saying, follow me anyway. Because when the storm hits, people look around. They ask, who's calm, who's grounded, who knows what to do? And if that person is you, even once, you've changed the world around you. So let me end with this. There will always be another storm, another challenge. Another moment that tests who you are. But what if instead of bracing for impact, you trained for it? What if you stopped asking for life to be easier and started demanding that you become stronger? What if you became so emotionally conditioned, so mentally strong, so purpose-driven that chaos started fearing you? You are built for the storm. You are unshakable, and this world is waiting for you to rise. Let's go. Certainty isn't something that just shows up one day and decides to stick around. Certainty is built, forged, and trained, just like a muscle. Every single day, you're either conditioning confidence or feeding doubt. Most people wait for certainty to arrive. They wait for the economy to stabilize, the partner to stay loyal, the scale to move, or the opportunity to feel perfect. But certainty doesn't come from the outside in. It's the other way around. It starts inside and radiates outward. You want to be unshakable in a world of chaos. You better start with how you condition yourself daily, because life isn't going to slow down for you to feel ready. The storm doesn't wait for you to feel strong. You have to build certainty like a warrior trains for battle, and that means creating rituals and routines that lock you into a powerful state, regardless of what's happening around you. When I talk about training certainty, I'm talking about stacking proof in your nervous system that says, I can handle anything. That means doing hard things when it's inconvenient. That means making promises to yourself and keeping them. That means saying no to the things that drain you and yes to the things that challenge you. Because every time you show up with courage, every time you choose power over comfort, you reinforce certainty in your body. And listen, your body needs to believe you, not just your mind, because if your body is wired for panic, if your posture is collapse, if your breathing is shallow, you're not going to feel certainty no matter how many affirmations you repeat. You have to teach your nervous system how to stand tall, how to breathe with power, how to move with intention. Because confidence is not in your thoughts, it's in your physiology. You can't just think your way to strength. You have to act your way there. You have to move like someone who is certain, speak like someone who is certain, decide like someone who is certain, and guess what? Eventually your mind catches up, but it all starts with your body. That's why I tell people, control the first 30 minutes of your day like your life depends on it, because it does. The way you start your day is the way you build your certainty. Are you feeding your mind with garbage or greatness? Are you letting the news hijack your emotions before you've even had breakfast? Or are you putting fuel in your body, strength in your posture, clarity in your mind? The storm starts early, so your preparation better start earlier. And remember this, certainty doesn't mean you have all the answers. Certainty means you trust yourself to find them. It's not about being fearless. It's about knowing that fear doesn't get to drive the bus. You can feel fear and still move forward. You can feel chaos and still stay calm. That's what it means to be unshakable. You don't need guarantees. You need guts, and you train that daily. Emotions are not random. They're not just things that happen to you. They are patterns, and those patterns can be disrupted, redirected, and ultimately mastered. But most people don't master their emotions. They get mastered by them. They wake up and feel overwhelmed, and that's the tone of their day. They get one email and spiral into panic. They look at someone else's life on social media and feel like failures. Why? Because they've handed over the steering wheel of their emotional life to the external world. But what if you took it back? What if you decided right now that you are in charge of how you feel? Not your bank account, not your boss, not your ex, not the economy. That's power, that's freedom, that's the beginning of becoming unshakable. Because when you can command your emotional state, you become the storm, not the victim of it. Here's the truth, the quality of your life is the quality of your emotions. You can have the business, the car, the house, the title. But if you feel anxious, depressed, resentful, empty, you're not living. So emotional mastery isn't optional, it's essential, and it starts with awareness. You've got to know your patterns, what triggers you, what pulls you out of power, what lights you up. What grounds you. When you understand your emotional blueprint, you can start rewriting it. Start by taking control of your physiology. Your emotions are deeply tied to your body. Stand up straight, breathe deeply. Move with purpose. Smile, even if you don't feel like it. It's not fake, it's training. You are conditioning your nervous system to associate movement with energy, with joy, with courage. Don't wait to feel good to move. Move and you'll feel good. Then take control of your focus. Whatever you focus on, you feel. If you focus on what's missing, you feel lack. If you focus on what's wrong, you feel fear. If you focus on what's possible, you feel inspired. Where focus goes, energy flows. So ask better questions. What's great about this? What can I learn here? How can I grow from this moment? Don't be a passive recipient of your thoughts. Be the director. And finally, change your language. The words you use shape the way you feel. If you say, I'm overwhelmed, you'll live in that state. But if you say, I'm stretching beyond comfort, that has a very different energy. Be intentional with your words. Speak power into your life, not panic. You are not your emotions. You are the creator of them. And when you choose to create emotions that serve you, that empower you, that strengthen you, you rise above the chaos. Crisis is the ultimate mirror. It doesn't show you what you want to see. It shows you who you are, and most people don't like that reflection, because when life is easy, you can fake strength. But when everything's falling apart, when the pressure is crushing, when the future looks like a giant question mark, that's when the truth comes out. Do you crumble or do you rise? The truth is, you don't become strong in the storm. You reveal the strength you've already built, and if you haven't been building it, well, now you know. Now you see what's missing. That's not failure. That's feedback. That's your invitation to start training for the next storm. Because there's always another one coming, and here's the good news, you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to be real. You just have to decide that you're not going to let the chaos define you. You're going to define yourself in the chaos. You're going to write a story that says, yes, I was scared. Yes, I was hurt. Yes, I fell, but I got up. I learned. I led. I grew. Because being unshakable doesn't mean you never feel pain. It means you don't let pain steal your identity. It means you take that pain and turn it into purpose. It means you take the chaos and create clarity. It means you stand up in the middle of the storm and say, this is not the end. This is the beginning of my next chapter. You've got to reframe what chaos means to you. It's not a punishment, it's a purification. It's burning away the parts of you that were never solid to begin with. It's showing you what's real, what matters, what lasts, and if you embrace that, if you welcome the fire instead of running from it, you come out the other side stronger, clearer, and more powerful than ever. Standards are the invisible scripts that run your life. You don't get what you want, you get what you tolerate, and in chaos that truth becomes brutally clear. When everything is uncertain, when the pressure is on, when nobody's watching, that's when your standards either save you or destroy you. Most people lower their standards under pressure. They skip the workout, they eat whatever, they cancel the hard conversation, they sleep in instead of rising early, they rationalize, they say, it's just for now. But what they don't realize is that just for now becomes a habit. And those habits shape their destiny, but the few, the rare, the unshakable, they raise their standards in the storm. They don't wait for life to get easy. They don't need motivation to act. They act from identity. They say, this is who I am. I show up no matter what. And because of that, they win. Your standards are your safety net. When chaos hits and your emotions want to take over, your standards keep you grounded. If your standard is to eat clean, you don't reach for junk. If your standard is to be honest, you don't lie to protect your ego. If your standard is to lead with love, you don't lash out in fear. Your standards become your strength. So raise them, upgrade them, and make them non-negotiable, not because someone else is watching, but because you are. Because your life is a reflection of the standards you refuse to compromise. Leadership isn't reserved for CEO and presidents. Leadership is for anyone willing to show up with courage when it counts. And sometimes the most powerful leadership comes not when you're at your peak, but when you're bleeding, bruised, and still moving forward. You don't have to have it all together to lead. You just have to care enough to keep going. You just have to put others ahead of your ego, because in chaos, people aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for certainty. For someone who's calm in the chaos. For someone who says, follow me, not because I'm flawless, but because I refuse to quit. Leadership is not about being the loudest voice, it's about being the most grounded presence. When you're hurting, but you still serve. When you're scared, but you still speak truth. When you're tired, but you still show up. That's leadership, and that's what changes lives. So don't wait to be healed to help others. Don't wait to be whole to walk others home. Lead even when you're bleeding, because your courage gives permission for others to rise. Your strength becomes a lifeline, and in the end, the leader you become will be forged not by the easy days, but by the storms you faced head on, and the people you lifted along the way.